If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Joe in Astoria, you're on the other side of midnight with Lionel.
Hey, Lionel.
Yes, sir.
Lionel, have you ever noticed that the intelligent people are like they have something, or they either got to do drugs or they got to drink or something like that?
Not everybody. Not everybody. A lot do. Sure, a lot, but not everybody.
But most. Lionel, I did a couple of months at Rikers, something stupid that I did, and I met the most intelligent people in there. Like a lot of smart people are in jail.
Well, what do you think that is?
I don't know why, because they all have a little twist in their lives. They do stupid stuff.
But why do they do so? This is chicken or the egg. Are they crazy because they do stupid stuff, or they do stupid stuff because they're crazy?
One or the other, but I'm telling you, I met a lot of smart people in
Joe,
there.
can I ask you? Can I ask you, Joe, if you don't mind me asking? What were you in for? What did you do that was stupid?
Oh, that's something. You know what I did?
What?
It was a cold day, and I was waiting for my son. And then the apartment building, I saw the door cracked in the basement. I went in there, and I went in the boiler room, and I fell asleep. Next thing I knew, the cops were there.
Wait a minute.
So they got me for trespassing.
Oh, come on! They put you in Riker for because of,
and then
that's it.
And then my stupidity was that when I went to arraignment, they gave me a court date, and that didn't show up. So when I was driving, they looked up. I had a warrant, and then that's why I did it.
You know, Joe, I hereby ask everybody to petition everyone in power, whether it's President Trump or the governor, to pardon you. You're a good man. And there's no reason why you have to have that stain, that ignominy of some criminal record just because of that. That is negligible. That's called being human. Joe, I forgive you. Go in peace, my friend. Go in peace. I forgive you. I had some of the most stupid people. Stupid. Did I tell you that? Stupid. I got to tell you this story. It's a true story. I kind of laugh. I said this in part in jest, but I'm serious. You can try an insanity defense, but it doesn't work. But stupid is really a big problem. I'll never forget this. This mother and father came to me, brought their son. And I said, can I help? He goes, yes, my son is here. I said, okay. Did you have an arraignment? Well, yeah, we had an arraignment. Well, what's your next court date? Tomorrow. I said, oh, what is it? They said sentencing. I said, wait a minute, what? Sentencing? You're a little late. What happened? This guy had a mole, a nevus, like an Oreo, kind of like a Aaron Neville kind of a thing. But it protruded. It was like a barnacle meat, and I just kept staring at this. If he talked, I kind of missed what he said. She said, tell him. He goes, Mom, tell him. And I'm thinking, this is interesting. Go ahead, tell me what happened. He said, he pled guilty. I said, you're not helping me with this. What exactly am I supposed to do? He goes, tell him, Mom. I said, okay, enough with the tell him, Mom. What happened? They gave him a form to sign, and he pled guilty. I said, well, why? He says, tell him. I know, Mom, he's illiterate. Okay. And he's embarrassed. And he's illiterate and dyslexic. I said, how do you know? Anyway, I'm getting to the philosophy of this. I said, well, what happened? He says, he can't read. And they gave him this thing, this big free. Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty? Do you understand this? Yes. He's embarrassed. I said, listen, you can't withdraw a plea. If there's one thing that's solid, because when you play, for example, Mr. Blaze, are you pleading guilty because you are guilty? Yes. Did anybody offer you anything or threaten you in any way? No. Are you under the influence of anybody? No. Do you understand you're giving up the right to appeal? Yes. Do you understand you're giving up the right to a trial? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. I'm serious. Yes. I'm not kidding. Yes. You go through this litany, and then you're going to come back the next day and say, you know what? I didn't understand. What? So I went to the court. And I said, and I told the prosecutor, I said, who I knew, I said, listen, I said, I want to do a motion at least to withdraw the plea and then, do something. It was so bad. You ready for this? I was going to do a deposition. The detective showed up. He said, what are you doing here? I said, well, I represent so-and-so. He says, he was charged? No, he's the witness. I said, no, they charged him. I think it was burglary. He said, no, he's the witness. I said, well, they charged him because... I said, what is he, stupid? I said, that's exactly right. So anyway, I went before the judge. He said, what's your defense? What possibly could you advance to have somebody withdraw a plea? You just can't do this. I said, Your Honor, I know. I said, and so I said, so I kind of waved off. The court reporter was coming up to the bench, and I gave him a sign like, go away. The judge said, yeah, go away. We don't want to, because I don't want this on the record. I said, Your Honor, he's stupid. What? He said, I said, look at him. What do you mean? I said, just look. I'm not kidding you. So I kind of moved out. The judge stood up on the bench, looked over, and looked at him. He says, he does look stupid. I said, he signed a plea agreement? He goes, what? I said, yes. He signed it. He can't read. Then they asked him. I said, I know they asked him because he's stupid. I said, look at him. So the judge gets up again and looks at me. He said, he does look stupid. So he said, you know what? Out of an abundance of caution, so they withdraw the plea. We went and they dropped the case. It was like magic. But the point is, it was the first time I think anybody ever successfully used this stupid defense. Not crazy, not insanity, just stupid. People do stupid things. And when you're a kid, you do stupid things. And the thing is, 90% of the time, people who do stupid things don't get caught. Sometimes things are just like, what? So there's a whole nother world out there of stupid people. So what I'd like to do is you don't have to have Morgan & Morgan. If you've been hurt, Morgan & Morgan, asbestos. But I'm going to say, if you're stupid, if you know somebody who's stupid, call me. We can help you. Because I want to advance a new level of jurisprudence, a new body of law, a new area that doesn't consider insanity, but stupidity. And we have a hall of fame of stupid. These stupid people we got off. People goes, hello, I went to the Lionel law firm. They told me I didn't have a chance, but I told him I was stupid. He told me no problem, and they dropped the charges. That's right. If you're stupid, call us. I'm not kidding you. There are people who don't hurt anybody. Oh, what about this? People who say, I'm going to put him on probation, and the defendant says, no, don't. I'll do a year in a day and stay in prison. What? I can't do probation. What do you mean you can't do probation? I can't keep records. I can't show up on time and call the guy and pay costs of supervision. Why? You know it. I'm stupid. I can't do that. And that's what they do. They take these people, they put them on probation. They start off with something piddly. And then when you do a VOP or a violation of probation, it comes back and that judge pounds you because you gave you a chance the first time and you supposedly look like you're recalcitrant, but you're not. And the problem is very simple. You're just stupid.
This is Greg Kelly. Donate now to Toys for Tots, which works year-round. Go to toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots supports children in need throughout the year with programs like the Toys for Tots Literacy Program. Established in 2008, it has provided over 63 million books to disadvantaged children. The Toys for Tots Literacy Program is committed to providing disadvantaged children with direct access to books and educational resources that enhance their ability to read and communicate effectively. Go to toysfortots.org.